Hey everyone, this is Chris Grenier. In today's Market Minute, I'm going to go over the 3 tips to flip. Number 1, the most important thing when it comes to flipping a property is finding a property that is a good deal, that is below market value, that has plenty of room in there for not only cost of renovations, but your closing costs, holding costs, selling costs, and also a little bit of wiggle room and margin of error in there, because there's always unforeseen expenses when it comes to the renovations, as well as maybe things that you didn't necessarily account for. So making sure that you find a good property that's below market value and that really kind of fits into your calculations on how much money you want to earn on the deal. The average return on investment right now when it comes to flipping a property in Central Florida is about 12 to 14%. Unfortunately, those glory days of making 15, 20, 25% a return on flipping a property are long gone, just because inventory is so low and demand is sky high. And so it's really making it a tough market out there to make a killing. Number 2, when it comes to flipping a property, location is key. Obviously, the 3 most important words when it comes to real estate is location, location, location. And everybody kind of has a little bit different of opinion about what location means. When it comes to flipping a property, the location that's going to be most important is finding one that has a lot of buyer demand, as well as a quick turnaround time. So by that I mean finding an area, let's use Central Florida again as an example, Pine Hills for example. That is obviously an area that everybody has an opinion on, but what I can tell you is the average days on market for a property to be sold in Pine Hills is about 20. Properties there are selling quick. It's one of the only places in Central Florida, in Orlando specifically, that you can find houses between that $100,000 and $150,000 price point. And your holding costs are significantly less. Obviously, there's low taxes there. There's generally no HOAs. And so it's a lot cheaper to hold a property for a couple more weeks or months if you need to. Using that as a comparison to Windermere, for example, which is obviously one of the most affluent and exclusive areas there are in Central Florida, the average days on market is about 55, and your taxes are obviously going to be extraordinarily higher. Your cost of the property itself is going to be higher, and finally, when it really comes down to it, when you sell it, it's going to be more expensive. And finally, rehab. Renovations on a property is going to be what really determines how quickly you sell the property, as well as how much money you're going to get for it when it's all said and done. Now, when you see the TV shows, obviously, the typical plot is the wife going out and spending an absurd amount of money on all the expensive fixtures and finishes. They always come back from some designer store saying they spent $10,000 on tile flooring on a $100,000 house or something like that. It just doesn't make any sense. You really need to know your target audience for the person who's buying the property. The finishes should match the expectations of the buyer. So for example, $150,000 property, you're not going to put $3,000 stainless steel or those new fancy Wi-Fi black stainless steel refrigerators in there. But if you do put a good quality stainless steel Frigidaire set that's maybe $1,500, $1,800 or so from H.H. Gregg, it's going to meet and exceed the expectations of the buyer. Just like if you were to use a good generic granite countertop in that house, 99% of the houses in that area are not going to have that. So when they do go into the property, they're going to see those extra little finishes and tidbits that are going to make the world of a difference when it comes down to the buyer deciding which house they're going to choose. Now, the reverse is also true. If it's an expensive $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 house, again in the Windermere area, you don't use cheap Formica granite, fake granite countertops in the kitchen, and you don't use white appliances and stuff like that. You have to make sure, again, that the finishes match the expectations of the buyer. So I hope those 3 tips kind of help. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach me at any time. Website is chrisgrenier.com. Check out orlandopropertyflips.com for some exclusive property releases. Finding good deals on this market is harder than ever. And so fortunately with us, you get the best deals at the best price, and you certainly get everything broken down for you nice and easily. So thank you for your time. Have an awesome day.